What about that? A 3-0 win here at Vicarage Road. Norwich City are out of the relegation zone, and it's gone about as well as you could have hoped. That away end, just over my shoulder there, was absolutely bouncing. I'm not sure exactly how many there were, but over 2,000 certainly. We didn't get an attendance, I think, because it was a pretty frenetic game as I'm about to go through. The Floodlights playing a big part as well, a 12 minutes delay during the second half, but Norwich scored either side of that delay, and it was Josh Sargent. Sargent's on fire was the chant. The very, very popular man, USA, USA, over and over again. He was the man being interviewed pitch side, just down, as you can see, by my shoulder was where some of the interviews were happening in front of the away fans. They were all saying, "Sargent, give us a wave," while he was being interviewed live, which he did respond to in turn. And it's just been a brilliant night, really, building on that Everton. We're not as good a performance, strangely enough. The third goal was an own goal. Watford did control things largely. I mean, stats-wise, they had 68% of possession, 15 shots, and 4 of them were on target. To Norwich's 7 and 2 on target. 2 on target, but scored 3 goals, thanks to an away goal. And pass success completion, Watford 82%, Norwich 59%. Now, that means nothing, does it? We all know the stat that matters, but it sort of shows, not that I'm saying Norwich played badly or anything, but it shows the contrast in styles and the control that Watford had in this for large parts. But Norwich forced the issue, and they'd started off really well, actually. They'd looked really sharp in the opening 15 minutes, and Jacob Sorensen had to go off injured in the 21st minute. I think I saw him in a bit of a leg brace, sort of hobbling around on the side of the pitch on his mobile phone, taking in the celebrations at the end. So we'll have to see how that is. Hopefully nothing too bad. But that did throw Norwich a little bit. Watford started to go wide and bypassed McLean and Lace Malou quite well. It was still 0-0 at half-time. Neither keeper had really been tested too thoroughly. A scrappy game. The pressure of the game was probably telling. It was a great atmosphere in here. You know, there was fireworks, flames shooting out, televised live on Sky tonight, and it was bouncing. Both sets of supporters singing. It was massive. We all knew how big it was. If Norwich lost this, then Watford basically cut the bottom 3 adrift. Now they're in the relegation zone. They have lost, I think this is off the top of my head, 7 of the last 8 Premier League games. Wouldn't be surprised if Claudio Ranieri loses his job. This place was half empty by the end. 15 minutes of added time to get through, but Norwich sort out reasonably comfortably. Man of the match has got to go to that man, Josh Sargent, for his 2 goals. Finally breaking his Premier League drought and all of that pressure which has been on his shoulders. Recently became a father, didn't he, at 21 years old. The man from Missouri finally makes the breakthrough, and he's going to be feeling pretty happy. In fact, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Dean Smith allows them to have a bit of a booze up at Colney tomorrow night, as they've got a free Saturday before this 2-week winter break, as it's supposed to be, and then they come back for the FA Cup. They've got a little bit of leeway to let their hair down, and they've earned it with these back-to-back wins against Everton and Watford. They are now very much alive and kicking and in the fight. They have the chance to build from here. 2 weeks to really work on things, get everybody fit. We already know that hopefully Norman, Gilmore, Rupp, Omobamidele all going to be coming back in for that FA Cup game. Zimmerman played 45 minutes tonight as well. We'll have to see what happens with Tim Krul, but Angus Gunn just about kept a clean sheet tonight. Very quiet first half, but again, as I will come on to. So Sargent, man of the match, he's the only one that I'll give him a 9 out of 10 in the circumstances, but I'm not going to go too big in terms of ratings because of the general display. I'll go a 7 for everyone apart from Gunn and Aarons, who I'll give a 6. I think Max had a difficult time of it at times. They were getting down the left. He battled away. It's not like he had a bad game. I could have given them 7s as well, really, but Gunn did seem to switch off in those latter stages. You know, he's not played a lot of football, has he? But he's finally broken that horrible sequence of, 17 goals in his last 3 Premier League games that he's conceded over a long spell of time, of course. But that's the first time Norwich has scored 3 in a Premier League away game since August 2015. when they won 3-1 at Sunderland under Alex Neil over 6 years ago. So that doesn't happen very often at all. So I pretty much summed up the first half. The first goal comes from Pukki putting pressure on Kamara, their new left-back, Hassan Kamara, who they signed from Nice. He was a teammate of Pierre-Lise Malou last season, actually, and he was fun in the first half, but he just seemed to completely lose his way in the second, maybe because of that moment was playing on his mind. But it seemed to me like he was already going down. Pukki hadn't done a great deal. Then Pukki keeps the ball alive, picks out Sargent, and it's a really sort of agile, twisting finish, and manages to sort of back heel it in on the volley, in off the crossbar, and the ball just bounces down the right side of the line in front of those away fans, so he could celebrate with them. But then we had the VAR checks to see whether there was going to be that foul given against Pukki and things like that. It eventually got given. The roar goes up in the away end. 9 minutes later, we have this delay. I think they're back on. Yeah, they're back on now. So I'm not sure if you can quite make it out behind me, but there's 2 layers of lights on that stand behind me. So the lower layer went all around the stadium. I think they're for the high definition TV pictures. So it's probably in the Premier League regulations that they're not supposed to play. But after that delay, both sets of coaches got together and agreed to start playing the game again. And within 3 minutes of the restart, Sargent had his second. Again, we had to wait for VAR to confirm it, but Rashid's a lovely turn to get in behind his man on the left wing, cracking cross from the left. But then it's all about the determination of Sargent. And I've been really cheesy on Twitter in tribute to the great Meatloaf, who of course passed away today, and said he rose like a bat out of hell to get above Kamara and power a header down across the keeper backman, bouncing into the far corner of the net. And it was a really good traditional sort of centre forwards header. Ewan Roberts would have been proud of that one. So what a moment for that young man. We shall see what follows for him, but including the 2 goals against Bournemouth in the League Cup, he's now got 4 for Norwich this season, 6 if you include the couple of goals he scored for Werder Bremen before he signed up as well. So if he ends up in double figures for the season, then maybe he will be pointing to those statistics. It gets even better. 4 minutes later, Watford had lost their heads. The angst around in these stands was pretty clear. I'm up near the back of the stand where the press box is. There's a sort of metal backing to the stand. There was a lot of punches going against the stand, a lot of noise. But Emmanuel Dennis, isn't it his first name? Yeah, Emmanuel Dennis. Had been booked in the first half for a foul on Les Malou. He basically dangles a high foot out on Aarons. It's not the worst foul in the world, but it is another yellow. And then it's the red card. And this place is so annoyed about the result, they barely even seem to notice. One of the fans behind us said about 3 minutes later, did Dennis get sent off then? We had to confirm it for him. So at that point, it's starting to look kind of cushy, but weirdly Watford came into things from that point. Gunn and Sargent got themselves in a muddle, sort of both hesitated over a clearance, and then Gunn had to make a save from King, I think it was. João Pedro whipped a shot that curled over the bar, which had beaten Gunn with the pace, and then Moussa Sissoko, their captain, the former Tottenham and France midfielder, scores a wonderful goal in the 90th minute on the spin, on the volley, and you think, oh, here we go, 2-1, this could be a bit of a grandstand finish. But then we see the replays. The linesman had flagged for offside, to be fair to it. It wasn't VAR overruling. VAR just confirmed that it was offside, and you could see he was the wrong side of, I think it was Hanley, the Norwich defender, who was marking him. And it's a bit of a let-off. And then Norwich go up the other end, second minute of injury time. Adam Eder gets to the byline and just powers across into the box. Juraj Kutska, who's only been come off the bench, I think, about 5-10 minutes before, inadvertently turns the ball into his own net at the near post. Very similar to Michael Keane's own goal for Everton last weekend. That's 3-0. That's game over. That's Norwich knowing that they're going out of the Premier League relegation zone against 10 men, and a massive result. Cucho Hernandez, another substitute for Watford, did hit the bar with a speculative, very long-range shot, which Gunn sort of had covered. It hit the top of the crossbar. You'd hope that he would have saved it, but it was a pretty spectacular effort. And that was deep into injury time, 8th minute of added time. So it didn't really matter then. But the chants were, we are staying up, ole, ole, the away fans just having a great time. Newcastle are at Leeds on Saturday, Burnley at Arsenal on Sunday. So we shall see how things shape up, because we know there's still those games in hand. We can't certainly not job done. They're on 16 points, so they have now got a platform to really kick on from here and have a better second half of the season. But we know after the FA Cup game there are difficult matches. It starts with Crystal Palace at home, then Manchester City at home, then they go to Liverpool and Southampton before a few more winnable games the other side. Brentford at home is one of them, if I'm remembering correctly. So a great night, a really enjoyable night. Pretty envious of those fans who were in the away end, to be honest. They stuck around for quite a long while. As I said, they were serenading Sargent. Dean Smith also had to walk across to the other side of the pitch to do his interviews, and they were chanting Dean Smith's Yellow Army loud and proud, and he was clapping along with them. So a good night for him as well. And yeah, they have certainly, well, it almost feels like more than breathed fresh life into the season. They have now given themselves a real, genuine chance of survival when they were looking pretty dead and buried after that horrible, horrible club record run of 6 successive defeats without scoring a goal. All of a sudden, that feels a long time ago. But I nearly said in our live updates that it's difficult to think that this is the same set of players when they started off the game so well. But it wasn't, was it? We've seen players come back into things. That Palace game, there was 9 players absent, if I'm remembering that correctly. I think it was 6 against Arsenal. You're now hopefully starting to see the real Norwich City, but they will hope to control a game a little bit better than this one. They certainly at home possibly, but it's shown that they're a good counter-attacking force, and it's shown that they've hopefully found that little bit of a cutting edge and clinical edge. And Sargent is working as a right winger. That's doing the job. Ida, I did give him a 7 in my ratings earlier, but mainly because he's forced that own goal at the end. I felt like their centre-back, Samir, who's a Brazilian they brought in from Udinese, he actually sort of won the physical battle with him a little bit. I think they had obviously watched the video of the Everton game and seen the sort of hold-up play and how powerful Ida had looked against Everton, and they really got stuck into him quite a bit. But he kept going, he kept battling. He certainly was stretching them, but he wasn't as dominant as he'd managed to be against Everton. So he's on people's radar a little bit now, isn't he? He's going to have to battle with that. But as a team effort, once again, they pulled together. They got the job very much done with them. A bit of good fortune here and there, but ultimately 2 very good goals from Josh Sargent to kickstart his Norwich City career after a difficult first 6 months with the club. Not the first player. Ewan Roberts had a difficult first season with the club. Mario Vrancic, certainly a difficult 6 months. Then he kicked on. Marco Stiepermann was a very forgettable first season. So he's not the first player to come in from overseas and maybe take their time to adjust to the Premier League pace, but now he's going to have confidence really flowing through his veins. He's probably going to be a bit disappointed. Actually, it just springs to mind that the USA have got some World Cup qualifiers, and I don't think their squad has been confirmed yet. And he obviously could go out for that potentially, I would have thought, because Norwich haven't got a game for 2 weeks, and it's an FA Cup game, which if he missed that, it wouldn't be the end of the world. He hasn't been in their last couple of squads, has he? Doing this on pretty much the biggest stage you can do it. Okay, against Watford, not against Manchester United or something, but it's going to be noticed by the US market, isn't it? If he's then not in the US men's squad when that is confirmed, the last I checked it hadn't been confirmed, and that would probably be a bit of a surprise. So that's one to keep an eye on as well. But I think I'll leave it there. Thank you for the comments. I see Adam's been flashing them up at the bottom. If you haven't already commented, then head on to our YouTube channel and let us know what you thought of the game below. Pink and Plus, of course, is the place to go for all the post-match reaction and analysis. We'll keep that flowing for you throughout the weekend. We'll be able to enjoy all of that for a few days, which hasn't always been the case this season. And although it is a winter break and 2 weeks without a game, we've got a few irons in the fire, which we hope are going to keep you happy on Pink and Plus, keep you entertained, keep you interested. So keep it locked on Pink and Plus. Thank you very much for watching and enjoy